got to tell you, she told you that there were a couple of times, come here, there were a couple of times that it was very hard for her. I mean, this is a woman with more courage than I could ever describe. And the night before she was going to testify, she started texting me and emailing. Can I tell the story?
No.
Okay. And it was all, go get him.
No, I wanted to throw in the towel that night, for sure. And I texted Rick and I said, what are we gonna do? I don't want to do this. I don't. And I think, sorry to interrupt, but I'm just gonna throw in. I found out that night that I was scared to death of them. I was scared that they were going to do what they always do, and that's take my story, take what happened to me, and demean it and tell the jury just was like, so what are you crying about? And I was scared. I was scared about how I was going to come off, and I was really scared, and I wanted to tell Rick. I told Rick, I said, what do we got to do to get out of this? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And it's because of him that we kept going.
Yeah, mostly because I just ignored her. She texted me, emailed me, called me, and I just didn't answer the phone. Sorry, I can't help it. Because I knew that when she got up and testified, that it would be one of the most powerful presentations that I had seen in my 40 years in court. And it was every bit of that and more. I just cannot describe how powerful a presence and what a courageous figure Candace Conti is. And so, to get back to my story about the lawyers, and you know, what I told her was courage is not being, it's not courage that you're not afraid. Courage is being afraid and going ahead anyway. And courage is what Candace had. And so, when she completed her testimony, we had to have, the courtroom had to have a break, and she had to have a little break. And so, we were allowed to go into the jury room, and they were all out in the hallway, so she could kind of compose herself a little bit. And my law partner had been there to watch and came in into the side room and said to me, this is where any smart lawyer for the defense says no questions. And I said, not going to happen. And sure enough, they were going to take her on. And the testimony that we blew up and showed to the jury in closing argument was the question, you told a couple of therapists that this happened hundreds of times. Candace said, yes, that's what it felt like to me. He said, but it might have only been 5 or 10 times. That's it. She said, I'm not certain. So I got to blow that up and say, only 5 or 10 times, that's it. Once is too many. That's what they don't get. A congregation that has one guy who's already sexually molested a child does not get a second child within the same congregation. That's what they don't understand. And that was one of the most powerful gifts that they gave us for showing what we ourselves could only argue but could not demonstrate the way that the lawyer did it. That's that they just don't get this. They don't get what child sex would be. They can read the Awake magazines from now until, you know, doomsday, whenever that's going to be. I think they keep changing it. But they don't get how devastating this is for kids.
Were they California ones?
Yeah.
Just because you are so amazing, really, moves me to tears. How did you bring yourself from that point of wanting to quit to testifying?
He ignored me, like you said. I mean, what was I supposed to do? No, actually, I know we have a lot of people on it, and Jehovah's Witness is really kind of a, when they're kind of getting out of it, they really turn away from God. But I have to say that God has been with me throughout this whole process. And I really wouldn't be where I am without that support. My goal really kept me going. He kept me going. Him and Kelly, solid rocks really behind me. And that's really kind of what got me through that night. Although it was really, really tough. I mean, I sat in the bathroom on the floor crying, you know, just trying to trying to compose myself, but literally falling apart. But praying really got me through it.
And the message for every victim out there is you have more strength inside you than you ever could believe. And you have the power to take back your own life from the people who caused so much injury to you. And if you stand up and speak, your voice will be heard. And if you stand up and speak, others will stand up and speak. And that chorus of thousands of voices, whether in a courtroom, or in a meeting, or just in the family home, those voices will heal these victims more than anything else, will protect us from having more victims more than anything else, and hopefully will bring the light of truth into this organization.
Are you getting a lot more calls for cases of people coming forward after?
Yeah, I got 1,000 calls from people who have a case just like Candace's, except none of them do. Haven't found one yet that meets the right test, but they're out there. I know they are. And a lot of them are just too old. You know, you don't get forever to bring a lawsuit. You got to bring it within a certain time frame. And there are a lot of people, you know, for a whole lot of really good reasons, aren't able to speak out before the time's up. So speak up now is our message to victims everywhere.
You stated that you don't know what the outcome of the appeal is going to be, but I think I heard you say that it may be, they may retry.
Well, if the appeal is successful in some way, there's two things that can happen. One is the court can say, Candace Conti does not have a case the law recognizes, and throw it out, we don't care what the jury does. The other thing they can do is they can say, well, she might have a case, but the judge made mistakes, and based on those mistakes, we have to have a new trial. So those are both possibilities, along with the third possibility, which is, you know, maybe there were some mistakes here, but there was nothing of serious enough nature that would cause us to reverse the verdict, and the verdict stands. So those are the three things that happen on appeal. You win, you lose, or they say go do it again.
So if you go do it again, I'm just wondering from Candace, how's your courage to go do it again?
I think after getting through that testimony, as much as I want to move on with my life now, and I have goals of school and aspirations to graduate, I think that it's still a worthwhile cause, and that I think we'll be there. We'll be there doing it.
I think you'd have a bunch of people behind you.
Oh, I know, and I so appreciate all of you, everybody who has stood behind me. I think it'll be a lot easier this time, around, but definitely. And that's along with what Rick was saying, is that right now is such a crucial point that we get everybody's story out there, so that we can get some more cases, some good cases against these people, so that we can really send a message on.
One more question, then that's it.
As part of the appeals process, has the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania posted the necessary bond?
Pennsylvania is not involved in this case. This is a New York case. This is a New York case. No, not yet. They're not required to at this time. What they did ask the judge for was an order staying execution. In other words, saying they can't do anything, the plaintiff, that's what our side is called, cannot do anything to enforce the judgment. And I said, I don't have any problem with that, just so long as you guys can't transfer any real estate, because they have, you know, billions of dollars in real estate, until such time as either there's a bond posted or the judgment is vacated. And that was the judge's order, so their real estate's all tied up right now.
Thank you very much.
This is one
wonderful presentation, and we appreciate, Rick, all the questions that you've answered, and we can't thank you enough for being here.
My pleasure.